Lena Carter hunched over her console, brow furrowed in concentration. Her lab was a mess of wires, monitors, and half-eaten takeout containers. She adjusted a dial on the temporal displacement device, the culmination of years of research. This wasn't just sending a message, it was sending a signal through time itself. S1, as Dr. Lena Carter. Come on, please work. The air crackled with energy. Lena held her breath, her finger hovering over the activation switch. With a deep breath, she flipped the switch. The lab hummed, lights flickered, then silence. S1, as Dr. Lena Carter. Did it work? Come on, give me something. Lena stared at the monitors, searching for any sign, any indication that her experiment had worked. Just as she was about to give up hope, a faint blip registered on the screen. A signal, weak, distorted, but unmistakably there. S1, as Dr. Lena Carter. Oh my God, I did it. I actually did it. The message was garbled, fragmented like a broken radio transmission. Lena strained to make sense of the distorted images and sounds. A face swam into view, haggard and etched with fear. It was her face, but older, wearier.
Lena, don't trust.
The message cut out. Lena's blood ran cold. Her own future self was warning her. But about what? Who couldn't she trust? And why? The questions swirled in her mind, a dizzying storm of confusion and fear. She had to know more. She had to get another message, a clear message. S1, as Dr. Lena Carter. Come on, focus. I need more data. Driven by a mixture of fear and scientific curiosity, Lena doubled down on her work. She pored over the data, trying to enhance the signal, to make sense of the fragmented message. Time seemed to slip away as she worked, fueled by adrenaline and a growing sense of dread. She was treading on dangerous ground. She knew that now. But she couldn't stop. She had to know what she was up against. S1, as Dr. Lena Carter. Who's there? The lab door creaked open, breaking Lena's concentration. She looked up, startled. S1, as Dr. Lena Carter. I said, who's there? No response. She got up from her workstation, her pulse quickening. She grabbed a heavy wrench from a nearby toolbox, her hand trembling slightly. The silence was unnerving. S1, as Dr. Lena Carter. Show yourself. A dark figure emerged from the shadows. Tall, imposing, dressed in black. Lena's breath caught in her throat. This was no ordinary intruder. This was trouble. The intruder moved with a swiftness that belied his size. He was upon her in an instant, his hand shooting out to silence her. Lena reacted instinctively, swinging the wrench with all her might. It connected with a sickening thud, but the intruder didn't even flinch. He grabbed her wrist, his grip like iron.
Where is it?
I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go. The intruder tightened his grip, his eyes cold and calculating.
Lena struggled against his grip, but it was no use. He was too strong.
Don't play coy with me, Dr. Carter. We know what you've done. We know about the message.
Panic surged through Lena. They knew. But how? Who were they? She had been so careful. So focused on the science, she hadn't considered the possibility that someone or something might be watching her, waiting for their moment to strike. Now, it seemed, that moment had arrived. The intruder's grip loosened slightly and Lena saw her chance. She brought her knee up sharply, connecting with his groin. He grunted in pain, his grip momentarily broken. Lena didn't hesitate. She shoved him back with all her strength and made a run for the emergency exit. She could hear him cursing behind her as she slammed through the door and into the darkness beyond. The night air was thick with humidity and the smell of exhaust fumes. Lena weaved through darkened streets, her pursuer always close behind. She could hear the screech of tires as a car pulled up alongside her. Two more figures emerged, their faces obscured by shadows. They fanned out, blocking her escape. She was trapped. S1, as Dr. Lena Carter. Desperation clawed at her. There was nowhere to go. She spun around, her back against a cold brick wall. The three figures closed in on her, their movements predatory, their intentions clear. Lena closed her eyes, bracing for the inevitable. She had failed. She had unleashed something terrible, and now it was too late to stop it.
Leave her alone.
Lena's eyes snapped open. Standing in the middle of the street, illuminated by the harsh glare of the car's headlights, was a woman. Tall, athletic, her face hardened by experience. She looked familiar. But how? The woman's eyes met Lena's, and in that instant Lena recognized her. It was her. Or rather, it was her future self. Older Lena's gaze held a mixture of sadness and resolve.
You shouldn't be here. This is a mistake.
The agents hesitated, their eyes darting between older Lena and Lena, unsure of what to do. They had been given their orders. retrieve Dr. Lena Carter and the device. But something about this confrontation, about the appearance of this other woman, gave them pause.
We have our orders. Step aside.
I won't let you take her. You don't understand what's at stake.
The air crackled with tension. A standoff in the dead of night, bathed in the cold, artificial glow of streetlights. Taking advantage of their hesitation, older Lena grabbed Lena's hand.
We have to go, now.
She urged, pulling her along. They ran, weaving through parked cars, their pursuers hot on their heels. Gunfire erupted, the sharp reports echoing through the night. Lena didn't dare look back. She trusted this older version of herself, trusted that she was trying to help. They ducked down a narrow alleyway, the stench of garbage and despair filling their nostrils. Older Lena pushed a dumpster aside, revealing a hidden door.
In here.
She whispered, urgency in her voice. They scrambled through the door just as another volley of gunshots rang out behind them. Older Lena slammed the door shut, plunging them into darkness. They were in some sort of tunnel, damp and smelling of mildew. Older Lena fumbled with a lighter, finally managing to ignite a flickering flame. The dim light revealed a maze of concrete walls and exposed pipes. S1, as Dr. Lena Carter. Where are we?
Safe for now, but we don't have much time.
She led Lena through the labyrinthine tunnel, their footsteps echoing in the confined space. Finally, they reached a dead end. Older Lena leaned against the wall, her breath coming in ragged gasps.
It's a loop, a temporal loop. Every time you activate the device, it resets the timeline. You're trapped. S1, as Dr. Lena Carter. Trapped? What do you mean?
Older Lena met her gaze, her eyes filled with a weary sadness.
It's the same night, Lena. Over and over again. You escape the lab, you meet me, we run, we hide, and then it all happens again.
Lena refused to believe it. It couldn't be true. It was impossible. And yet, a chilling familiarity settled over her. The chase, the gunshots, the fear. It was all too real, too vivid to dismiss as a hallucination. She was trapped. Suddenly, the air shimmered. The tunnel walls seemed to dissolve around them, replaced by the blinding white of Lena's lab. The temporal displacement device hummed with energy. Lena's heart hammered against her ribs. It was happening again. S1, as Dr. Lena Carter. No! Lena cried out, reaching for older Lena, but it was too late. Older Lena was gone, vanished as if she had never been there. And then, the message. The garbled, fragmented message from her future self. But this time, there was something different. Something new. The distorted face on the screen, her face, her older and wearier face, spoke with a chilling clarity that sent shivers down her spine.
It's a loop, Lena. You're trapped, and the only way to break free.
The message cut out, leaving Lena suspended in a terrifying void of uncertainty. The only way to break free how? The question echoed in the silence of the lab, a cruel taunt from her future self. She had created a prison of her own making, a temporal labyrinth with no exit. And now, she was condemned to relive the same night, the same chase, the same terror, over and over again, for eternity.